now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Deanie. We have a very special guest for you guys, so you definitely want to stick around for that. And as a matter of fact, text your buddies, family members, or even share it on social media right now and let them know that we are about to dive deep into another interview. Before I bring my guest on, I do want to say that you have to take another step forward. You know, it's not very realistic to expect that you'll go from where you are now to where you want to be in one quick leap. The most reliable and lasting progress is made one step at a time. You know, you have to welcome each step as you take it and reach it. And even though you're not all the way there just yet, you're moving steadily forward. Value and appreciate the progress that you've made, then continue moving on. The next step forward awaits you, and with it you'll move even closer. The reward that you seek at the end of the path is given value by every step of the journey. Each moment spent is time well spent when you're moving steadily forward, even if you still have a ways to go. Some steps may be tedious or complicated, difficult, challenging, or even uncomfortable. They are all moving you surely towards the place that you want to be. My name is Coach Deanie, and change is possible. Are you ready?
Hi, I heard you need a website, custom design and looks fly. You need to get online in no time, cause you have a deadline. With Snazzy Sites, we'll bring your ideas to the screen. We're pretty fast too, with your vision is templates where there's nothing we can't build up. We'll make it shine, perfect website all the time. Snazzy Sites, fast and fresh, looking fine, you'll be online. Snazzy Sites, we'll make it shine, perfect website all the time. Snazzy Sites, fast and fresh, looking fine, you'll be online. Snazzy Sites.
If you're looking to create a stunning online presence, contact Snazzy Sites. We're the best designers in the business at bringing your vision to life. Visit snazzysites.com or call 980-383-8383.
All right. Again, welcome to the show. You're listening to VRL. That's Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Deanie. Today's episode is sponsored by Snazzy Sites. Craft stunning websites, blogs, and resumes that don't just look good, they get results. Whether you're growing a business, building a personal brand, or landing your dream job, Snazzy Sites has you covered. Start your transformation today over at snazzysites.com. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, spirituality, entertainment, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings. You know, the ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, some people walk through life existing, while others transform every challenge into a testimony. Danielle Anderson is the latter, a chef, educator, entertainer, and best-selling author whose journey has been nothing short of miraculous. From facing personal struggles to fully surrendering to faith and purpose, Danielle's life is a living testament to the power of redemption and the power of self-discovery. Her book, From Darkness to Light, has already helped readers break free from toxic cycles and embrace healing. Whether in the kitchen, on stage, or on the page, her mission remains the same: to inspire and to uplift. So with that, let's say a welcome friend to Danielle Anderson. Hey, 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 welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are happy and glad that you're here with us, spending some time to chat. So Danielle, before we dive into your story, what's been on your heart and mind lately?
Oh man, just looking at all the stuff that's going on now. Wow, there's some changes that need to be made, and my prayer is that I'm one of those people that can help the change be made.
Indeed, indeed. What changes do you see that needs to be made?
Oh man, there's so much going on now with. Well, we already know. First off, the Bible says, "If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray," we're going to have to do a whole lot of praying. If we just look around at all the stuff that's going on, and really without having faith or having that relationship, it's going to be hard to make it out here.
Indeed, indeed. But I think you said a key word, humility. If we humble ourselves, things could go a lot easier.
Oh, yes.
All right, all right. So from writing as an escape to best-selling author, you've been writing for as long as you can remember, using it to process emotions. Can you take us back to those early writings? What were you expressing?
Hurt, loss. My dad, I wouldn't say walked out on my mom because unfortunately my mom was the other woman. So there was as a child, you don't see things like that. All I knew was he was my dad, and he left my mom, he walked away. As an adult, I see things differently now, but writing was my way of letting my dad know in my way that I missed him so much. He stopped coming around for a good while, and in turn caused my mom to be very bitter. So she wasn't that necessarily loving mother. I knew she loved me, but she wasn't that loving mother that embraced us the way she did before my dad left. So this was a way of me going to different places that I really couldn't do within my natural family.
Yeah, wow. Did you ever imagine it would become a published book?
I did not, because I wrestled for a long time with writing it. But when God speaks and tells you you have to do something, you have to just trust him and step out. I really didn't want the book to be published because there's a lot of things in the book, of course, about my family. And, us as African Americans, we, were taught what goes on in this house stays in this house. So it was a real struggle. But when I finished with the transcript, the first person that read it was my mom. And I didn't know that my mom had went through a lot of the same things that I had been through. Because like I stated, we were taught you don't speak about stuff like that. So my mom didn't really speak about things that happened in her life. So I was unaware. And unfortunately, that's how curses continue on throughout generations to generations to generations, because we keep all of that stuff closed up and closed in. And I have learned now that if you speak about it, if I would have let my children know a lot of the things that was going on, maybe they wouldn't be in the situations that they're in. So we need to make a lot of changes. But when I sent the transcript to my mom and she read it, she called me back crying, and she said, this has to get out because I believe that it's going to make a change in a lot of people. And that was like, to me, because I'm trying not to not to cry, but
Yeah.
my mom was my world. She was my everything. And I always wanted to make her proud. You know, as a child, I struggled because I had very low self-esteem. Because, like I said, my mom didn't know, but my mom's younger sister used to keep me a lot, so she kept me around her group of friends, and she had one of her friends' brothers, it was two of them, that, you know, molested me as a child. So a lot of that stuff I held in. I had very low self-esteem. I was struggling because like I said, my dad walked away, and really my mom walked away. She didn't realize it, but because she was angry with my dad, it trickled down to me and my brother and sister. So to know that my mom was accepting of me writing the book, and through me writing the book and my mom reading the book, she began to talk and let me know that some things that she had been through as well. So really it was a healing for our family, and it was growth on my part.
Yeah. You mentioned that you wrestled with God in the beginning. What did you wrestle about?
Oh, wow. Like I said, I had been through some stuff that nobody in my family knew. My son did. He knew a lot of stuff because I had him at a young age, so I kept him with me at all times. He was really my scapegoat. And I wrestled with it because I didn't want to disappoint my mom the way my dad did. And I felt like if my mom knew that I had been through some of the things that I went through, that it would disappoint her. But thank goodness, it was, like I said, it was, instead of a disappointment, it opened up the door for her to begin to release and talk about things that she had been through as well.
Yeah. Wow. So it's more so like about vulnerability to, you know, bearing yourself in front of strangers or readers or listeners or even people who need it, you know. But I could tell you, you know, you also said that God called you to write this book. And a lot of people may think if God tells you something, you should jump up and immediately do it. But I'm here to tell you, God can tell you some pretty scary things sometimes, especially when you pray for it, and He's delivering it. You're like, oh wait, I thought this was supposed to be like a 5-year later thing, you know, something down the line when I'm ready. And you know, and that's just something that sometimes we have to wrestle with, is our faith and our trust in God. But Danielle, what you were writing was also meant to not only heal the current family, but maybe even to help the next generation. Is that correct?
And yes, most definitely. I now have 3 granddaughters that I do not want them to go down the same path that my mom, my aunts, my grandmother, now my daughter, because I am raising my 3 grandbabies because my daughter, it hurts. Yeah. And I want my grandbabies to have a totally different life. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they don't fall into the entrapment, because that's what it is. It's entrapment.
I know that your mother.
And
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say not just for my grandbabies, but for the generation that's coming. They are going through a whole lot more than we ever could imagine. So I want to start now impacting them, like I said, because when I was growing up, it wasn't really talked about. But I want them to know that you're going to go through some things, but don't allow those things that you go through to create who you are or who you're going to be.
Absolutely. You mentioned that your mother gave you to go ahead to release this book. Plus, God told you to. But what did you feel inside that that became your turning point when you knew you had to tell your story, no matter the cost?
My daughter. My daughter. Not just my daughter, my son. Didn't find out until my son was almost in high school that he was molested at a young age, same way I was. And when things begin to be revealed to me, I knew that if I didn't obey God, then someone else's life was going to be destroyed. So I had to suck it up and walk in what he had told me to do. And man, all I can say is thank God. Because of the situation my son went through, he did, of course, turn to the homosexual life. And as I said, my daughter, struggled with self-esteem issues like, I did. So I knew in order to stop the wheel from turning, I had to be obedient.
Wow. And your obedience also help you examine the roots, like you mentioned that everything starts with a root, that your parents' actions affected your path. How did understanding your family's history help you take control of your own destiny or begin to tend to those roots?
That was one of the things because, like I said, my walk with God, I am a chef. So a lot of times when he shows me things, he shows me through cooking. And he showed me through an onion. A lot of people wouldn't think about the root of an onion, that's where all the impurities are. And that root of that onion is right in the middle of that onion. And you have to cut that root away. You can't cut that root up in your food. You can't use that root when you're cooking. Even when I'm making stock, the first thing I do is cut the root away from that onion, because that root is going to put all the impurities in my food. So that's how our lives are. It all starts with the root. And until we can get to the root of the situation and begin to allow those impurities to be removed, we're going to continue to struggle. We're going to continue to allow those layers, because think about an onion and the layers. The bigger the onion gets, the more layers it has on it. And that's how God showed me my life was, because of those roots stemming not, just from my childhood, but from my mom's, my grandmother's, and so on. It had begun to put layers on And in order for your food to taste good, you have to make sure you're peeling away at those layers so that onion can be that pure onion that you need it to be to season and do what it needs to do for your food. So I begin to allow God to show me the root, because like I said, we push things to the back, and I had pushed some things to the back. Like I said, I was molested at the age of 4, not just by my male, but our babysitter as well. She was having me and my sister to do some things that should have never been done, especially to a child. So he began to reveal all of that stuff to me, and as he revealed, my life really, really took a turn and changed for the better.
Absolutely. Praise God. For someone struggling to step into their purpose, whether it's because of past trauma, fear, or even doubt, what is some things that you would want them to know?
What I would want them to know is everything that we go through is to build in us who we really are. And as I stated, my relationship with God, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. And that was devastating. But 10 years later, I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, and that's an even more aggressive disease. Sarcoidosis destroys all your major organs. And I was mad at God because I didn't understand. But come on, God, you allowed me to be healed from the cancer, and then you're going to allow, I had really asked God to take my life because sarcoidosis, I hurt from the top of my head to the soles of my feet all day, every day. So I was miserable. And I was ready I knew I was saved. I knew I had, given my life over to God, so I was ready. And he nicely spoke to me and told me, he said, Danielle, you have a piece of coal and a diamond. They're both the same. But that piece of coal, you can use it for a couple of things around the house, but that diamond is much more valuable and much more important than that piece of coal. But that diamond cannot become that diamond until it's put under the pressure, until it goes through the fire. And the more intense the pressure, the greater the heat is on that diamond, the more valuable it becomes. Danielle, that's how I create my jewels for the kingdom. They have to go through the pressure. They have to go through whatever it is I have for them to go through. Because if you think about Job, God asked Satan, have you tried my servant Job? Satan didn't go to God and ask him if he could do what he did to Job. God knew what he had created in Job, and he knew that no matter what, Job was going to take a stand. And God showed me that everything that we go through is to build in us the people that he's called us to be, because there's somebody that's going to be coming in behind us that's not going to have the faith, that's not going to have the trust in him, that's not going to have the relationship that I have with him. So I'm going to have to be the quote-unquote Bible of the day. Because if you pick up the Bible now and you read it, you looking at it, and all of the disciples, the apostles, everybody in the Bible, guess what? They went through some things. So we are the Bible of today. And in order for other people to see who God is, how am I going to tell you that you can go through chemo and radiation? How am I going to be able to tell you you can be a single parent and make it through had I not gone through the things that I went through? How can I tell you that, yes, you're in that abusive relationship? Because I went through an abusive relationship for 7 years. 7 years. How can I tell that other young lady, baby, just hold on. Baby, I know that it looks bad right now, but if you just hold on, if you just trust God, if you just do what he's calling you to do, you can make it through this. How am I going to be able to tell somebody else if I never went through it myself? So now everything that I go through, I begin to thank God because I know it's for a purpose. And it has nothing to do with my purpose. It's God's purpose. Because he sees things greater than he knows further down the road than I know. So I just got to trust him and walk in it, go through the fire, do what has to be done so that he can get the glory out of all of my life. Not part of it, not half of it, not a fourth of it. I want him to get the glory out of all of my life.
Indeed. And now that your book is impacting lives, what's the next step in your journey?
He has me working on two more books. And the number one that's coming in behind this one, because like I stated, I went through a very abusive relationship. And I still struggle, a lot of times with missing my dad. I struggle with, my mom not necessarily loving, embracing, and, teaching us how to love and embrace. I struggle with some things, so the next step is forgiveness. And that's what he has me bringing out now. There's power in forgiveness.
Yes.
So I'm working on if there's anything in me or anybody that I'm holding anything against, I want to forgive them. I want to let them go so that not just so they can heal, but so I can heal completely.
Absolutely. Forgiveness is a large part of our journey of letting it go.
Yes.
All right. Where can our listeners... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's one of the things that my daughters struggle with is unforgiveness, and that scares me.
Yeah, I've been across those paths too, waging war against God, mad over things that happened. Like, but I'm your child. How could this happen?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just us humans hurting, and then we find out that our Creator is not the cause, or even if He is, because He's the Creator of all things. You're right. It's the pressure that creates diamonds and gems and sapphires. You may not be a diamond, but you may be a beautiful sapphire or a ruby.
Yes.
And
that's funny because that's what he had me to do, is look at all of the jewels. All of the jewels are created from pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the pearl, the onyx, all of the stones, all of the jewels are created from pressure.
Indeed. And over time. As they say, time heals all things, sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
And in that time, you come to learn that lesson that you had to learn. Sometimes it takes a very long time. But, so thank you for this conversation. I believe it was one that was needed, especially for those struggling with our similar journeys and paths, and even forward into the part where they haven't experienced forgiving themselves or forgiving those.
And that's the hardest person for us to forgive is ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I like that. From darkness to light. Indeed. Danielle, where can our listeners grab a copy From Darkness to Light?
Most of the major book companies, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, what is it, Shopify, Spotify, I don't know. My agent is the one that has the list, but most of the major book companies they can purchase.
All right, all right. And no worries, listeners. We will have that list in the description of this episode and in the show notes. So all you guys have to do is just click the links. Make sure you grab a copy of From Darkness to Light on Amazon and all major platforms. Make sure to follow Danielle for updates on new books, speaking engagement, and inspiration. Make sure you support Vigilantes Radio and our transformation stories. Make sure you subscribe to Vigilantes Radio wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a rating, leave a review. Your feedback helps us to keep bringing these powerful stories to the mic. And for those with hateful comments, yeah, you know, they sting a little bit, but hey, keep them coming. That means you are listening. You can buy me a coffee over at buymeacoffee.com/Vigilantes Radio to support future episodes. And make sure you share this episode. Tag us and Danielle when you do. I was also told that this book goes on sale tomorrow for 99 cents. What a deal, what a deal, what a deal. I know you have a buck, 99 cents. You spend that on the games you play. Little mobile games when the ads come up. Yeah, I will take more coins. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I know. You have a buck. All it is 99 cents. All right. Transform your life. Find your answers in the book. All right, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Danielle, for being our guest. It was truly an honor chatting with you tonight.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Peace to all. My name is Deanie, and I am the host of Vigilantes Radio Live. I think that we are beyond just asking cool questions and getting cool responses. I think that we are here as creatives to provide an example that you can do things different outside of expectations, because some of us simply were not born into the club, but there is perhaps a door, window, or back gate that we can leave a clue for you to get into. Life is short, but there are plenty of moments to try and get it right. Pursuing your dreams and learning from mistakes may be tough, but regret is tougher. To book your interview, email us at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That's a V as in victorious. Or visit onlyonemediagroup.com. I'm counting on you. Heaven, we all are counting on you to step into your purpose and your passion. You are listening to Vigilantes Radio Live on iHeartRadio, providing you with an opportunity to dive deeper.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com.